Hey everyone, welcome. Today I have with me an amazing pediatrician and a friend of mine, Dr. Elham Raker. I am so thrilled to be able to spend some time with her, and I'm grateful for this session. So I'll let you, Dr. Raker, introduce yourself a little bit and tell us a little bit about what you do, because I've got lots of questions for you.
Hi, Rashmi. I'm so excited to do this. I've actually been excited thinking about it because I enjoy meeting with you and talking with you. So happy to be here. Like Rashmi said, I am a pediatrician and I started a pediatric telemedicine platform where I can help parents with coaching, with counseling, give them a little bit more dedicated time than they may get in a private practice office setting, where sometimes it could feel a little bit rushed. And I know that not all of our questions always get answered as much as we'd like in those settings. So I decided to have this platform where I can be available more often and for a longer period of time. So happy to be here with you and your guests,
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
audience.
Yeah, yeah. So I work with a lot of women, they're busy moms. And one of the things that comes up a good bit, not just about the women that I'm working with, but also sometimes their kids, is the importance of sleep. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that because I know that that is a place of passion for you and something that I feel like we need to be talking about more.
100%. I think as we get older, sometimes it's like the less we sleep, it's like a badge of honor. Like, oh, I only slept 3 hours last night. And it's almost like you're so busy, that you just are able to make it with with that little of sleep. And it's not good. We shouldn't be, we definitely shouldn't be boasting about it and or feeling that way about it. And I know that as moms, we all wish we could get more of it. It's kind of become this like, oh, I could get by with a little bit of sleep. And I think what's really important is that even if you feel like you can get by with a little sleep, it's physiologically, we need at least the 7 to 8 hours. I mean, that's been shown scientifically, and you will suffer somehow, whether it's in the future, if you don't feel the immediate effects of it, kind of like eating a bad diet, or having high blood pressure. You don't feel it right away, but you're going to feel the effects of it in the long term. For kids, I'm a huge proponent of sleep because A, it helps parents sleep better when their kids are sleeping better. And B, they also need it for, maintaining focus at school, for relationships with friends, for just functioning. And again, it's one of those things that we don't, like you said, put enough emphasis on. So definitely, I love to sleep and I love to talk
Same. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned how
about sleep.
it's sort of a badge of honor. I feel like that's how it started for me. Certainly in college, I just sort of felt like sleep was a nuisance sometimes.
Yeah,
And then med school definitely reinforced that, right? We had those
100%.
Q3 calls, and then residency was like, sleep is for the weak. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I heard my mentor say that kind of thing all the time.
Yeah.
And so I just was conditioned, as were you. I mean, we all ended up being conditioned to some degree to wear it as a badge of honor. And it wasn't until I started to get older that I realized really all the detrimental effects that lack of sleep can do
Mhm.
for us. And so I love the way that you describe it is, what, it's going to catch up with you. If it's not the next day, it will definitely catch up with you. And obviously, we want to try to be proactive as far as sleep goes. What are some of the tips that you like to use, whether it's for, so a lot of the women who I work with, their kids are either tweens, teenagers, or even young adults. What are some of the tips that you like to give for families?
I think for everyone, the number one thing is sleep hygiene. That's what we, talk about. It's the first step. You want to make sure that you're entering the bedroom to sleep, right? So, one, your bedroom shouldn't be a place where you have a TV. Um, Growing up, sadly, I had a TV in my room. I think my parents just didn't know any better. But, it shouldn't be, certainly for kids. I know as adults, yes, we might have a TV in the big bedroom and it's nice. But my husband and I rarely watch TV before we go to bed. Um, it just you don't want your brain to think that this room should be for sleeping. That's really what it's meant to be. Even for kids, I mean, I know sometimes there is nowhere else for them to study, but if it's possible to separate, the study room from the sleep room, that would be great. Or maybe like just have a desk in the room and they're not studying on their bed, or reading. I mean, reading at night before they fall asleep, I think is great, but studying for a test, just because then your brain is kind of thinking, am I going to bed or am I studying? Like what's happening here? So I think that's step one, is to set up a good sleep place. And then step two is a good sleep routine. I talk about this with kids a lot. I mean, even as young as 4 months old, I think setting up a good routine really sets you up for having a good night's sleep your whole life. So, if you haven't starting with the same ritual every night, right? And what we really want to emphasize for older kids and adults is to try to get off the screens at least an hour, ideally 2 hours before bedtime, because those screens are stimulating our brains. And we know the effects of the blue light and all these things that just really messes with the circadian rhythm. And that's what we need to get back to, a natural rhythm. So getting up in the morning, seeing the light, um, getting off those screens before bedtime. And then the third thing I'd say, and I know this is really hard for teens, is trying to be consistent with the timing. So, there's this, like, teens will like to sleep in really, really late on the weekends. And I get that. And I think we need to be a little bit flexible with letting them sleep in late, but you can't make up for all the sleep, on one day, for all the sleep you've lost all week. And it's also, you want to try to keep kind of consistent times. Again, just for our brains to realize this is bedtime, this is wake up time, to not be so all over the place with the times that we fall asleep. And teenagers are going to have a little bit different rhythms. They are going to tend to go to sleep later. That's just when their normal melatonin will kick in. That's why we've talked a lot about late starts for teens in high school. So that's just a part of how their rhythm is going to go. But trying to kind of maintain them on some sort of routine will be helpful. And then they may need to sleep in the afternoon to make up for a little bit lack of sleep overnight. That's just like when they were younger kids. They're going to need closer to like 10, 11 hours of sleep as teenagers.
Yeah, that's amazing. Honestly, I do see, I mean, we just started our summer. I have two teens, and my younger one is way more consistent with her routine. Like, she was up this morning practicing her cello and she decided to take some course. And my older one, who is equally as successful with everything, probably stayed up till 1 or 2, and she's kind of just now getting up. I hear her now, but she'll go to bed at like 1 in the morning, and so it's just such an interesting time, and I love that. Right, so the sleep hygiene is so important, and the routine. I mean, that was something that I used to love. I used to love it when they were little. It was such a great little bonding time, so I love that, and to keep it really, really consistent, and make up the sleep every now and then. But keep in mind, it's not a bank account. You can't just keep taking from it. But if you really need a little bit of extra sleep, go ahead and sleep in the afternoon, especially if you're a teenager. I love those. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I think I remember as a teenager, my mom was really worried about me because I was coming home and taking a nap. And she asked my doctor about it, and he's like, yeah, she needs an extra sleep. So don't worry if your kids need a little bit extra sleep. They're not, doing anything crazy. They just need it. And they'll go back to needing a little bit less as they get older. But it's really so important. I mean, just for their, the cortisol levels, the stress hormone, um, that could lead to increased weight gain. With younger kids, we also see hyperreactivity, so it's not that they're somnolent like you'd expect. It's the opposite. They get hyperreactive. So some parents think like, oh, they're not tired, but actually they're overtired. So these are all kind of cues that we need to be aware of, and make sure that everyone's getting a good night's rest.
Yeah, wholeheartedly agree. What an important time to detoxify the body, the mind, and really get reset for the next day. So I love all of this advice that you've given us and really appreciate your time with us today. Any parting words, anything you want my audience to know about you? And I know they're going to want to find you. So I'd love to know how they can find you.
Yes, I would love that too. You can find me on my YouTube channel for it's Elham Raker MD. Also at askdrmom.com. It's askdoctor with a dash mom.com. My Instagram account is at askdrmom underscore. So any of those places, I love sharing tips with parents, a variety of different things, and would love to share it with your audience as well.
Yeah, I'll make sure and have these notes on really all the platforms. So I'm really excited to be able to share this time. Thank you again.
Awesome. My pleasure. Thank you.